If each of a, b, and c and d is a positive integer and is greater than 3, then, and if 1 over a minus 2 is equal to 1 over b plus 2 is equal to 1 over c plus 1 is equal to 1 over d minus 3, then which ordering of these four numbers is correct? Well, as always, just make life easy for yourself. Instead of multiplying all this out, let's just use some numbers. So I'm going to start with d. And because the numbers are greater than 3, I'll use the symbol. Let's let it equal 4. Okay, so now let's figure out each of the letters one by one. 1 over c plus 1 is equal to 1 over d minus 3. I can just look at the denominators. C plus 1 would be equal to d minus 3. D is 4, so that's going to be 4 minus 3. So c therefore looks like it is 0. Okay, so let's just keep a tally here. C is 0. Okay, now let's use this. 1 over b plus 2 is equal to 1 over c plus 1. So b plus 2 is equal to c plus 1. So b plus 2 is equal to 0 plus 1, which is just 1. So therefore b is negative 1. B is negative 1. And then finally, we figured out for a, so 1 over a minus 2 is equal to 1 over b plus 2. So just look at the denominators. A minus 2 is equal to b plus 2. B is negative 1, so negative 1 plus 2. So that means a is equal to, that's going to be 1 plus 2. A is equal to 3. Okay, and now we just have to order them, looks like from smallest to largest. So smallest is b, then c, then a, and then d. So it would be like that, b less than c less than a less than d. And of the answer choices, that it would be represented by E. If x is a number less than negative 2, which of the following expressions has the least value? Well, as always, just choose a number. It's less than negative 2, so let's choose negative 4. And now let's figure out each of these. Well, this is just negative 4. This would be negative 2. This would be negative 2. This would be negative 6. And this would be negative 8. So which one has the least value? Well, obviously this one. Number 16, the answer is E. Integers a and b have the property that if a is increased by 25%, the result will be greater than 5 times the value of b. What is the minimum possible value for a plus b? So we have a, and we are increasing it by 25%. So we are basically multiplying by 5 over 4. And if you do that, it's greater than 5 times the value of b. So this is basically the setup for the question, the inequality. Working with this, cross multiply the 4 and you get 5a is greater than 20b, and therefore a is greater than 4b. Now they want the minimum possible value of a plus b, and both a and b are positive integers. So what's the smallest positive integer I can choose for my value of b? Well, it's got to be 1, right? So if indeed b is 1, a must be greater than 4 times 1. A must be greater than 4. So what's the smallest possible minimum value I can choose for a now? That is a equal to 5. So there we go. I chose 1 for b, and that led me to get 5 for a. So therefore, the minimum possible value of a plus b will be 5 plus 1, which is 6. So number 14, the answer is B. Suppose m and n are positive integers with m less than n. The value of m plus 3 over n plus 3 will be. Well, as always, just choose some numbers, and then we can see what this will result in. So I'll choose 4 and 5 for m and n. So this expression, m plus 3 plus n over 3, becomes, if m is 4, 7, and if n is 5, 8, 7 over 8. And in terms of a decimal, that's 0.875. Now, let's look at the answer choices. Is it equal to 1? Well, no. Is it equal to 3? No. And then the other three, they're all comparing it to m over n. m over n. Well, m over n is equivalent, in my example, to 4 over 5. And 4 over 5 is the same as 0.8. So we have to now figure out 0.875 and 0.8. What is the relationship? Well, obviously, this one is bigger. So that means that this expression will be bigger than that expression. So number 11, the correct answer is D. Given two different numbers on a line, the number to the right is greater than the number to the left. The positions of x, x cubed, and x squared are marked on a number line. Which of the following is a possible value for x? All right, x, x cubed, and x squared. And let's figure out what it is for each of these. 1/5, 3 over 2, minus 2 over 5, negative 4 over 3, and 2. All right, so we get 0.2, 0.008, 0.04. Well, this doesn't seem to fit our criteria that the numbers seem to be getting bigger as you go that way. So that's not right. How about 3 over 2? We get 1.5. We get 3.375, 2.25. Okay, again, doesn't meet our criteria. How about negative 2.5? 0.4, negative 0.064, 0.16. This meets the criteria. And just for the sake of completion, 1.33 minus 2.37, 1.77 does not meet criteria. 2, 8, and 4 does not meet criteria. The only one that does is 2 over 5, negative, and therefore 18, the answer is C. N is a multiple of 7. Square root of n is between 17 and 18. How many possible values of n are there? So n is equal to 7k, and then the square root of n is between 18 and 17. So square everything, and this becomes n, but then 17 squared is 289, and 18 squared is 324. So how many multiples of 7 are there between 289 and 324? Well, let's put 289 here. We got a little boundary here, and then 324 is our other boundary. The first multiple of 7 that's greater than 289 is 294, because that is 42 times 7. And then you just keep adding 7, 301, 308, 315, 322, and then I will be beyond my boundary. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is the answer to number 18. That would be D. Kathy owns more cats than Alice and more dogs than Bruce. Bruce owns more dogs than Kathy and fewer cats than Bruce. Which of the following statements must be true? Kathy owns more cats than Alice and more dogs than Bruce. So I'm just writing it out in some inequalities. Next sentence. Alice owns more dogs than Kathy and fewer cats than Bruce. Okay, now let's combine these. For the cats, it would be, let's see here, AC is less than KC, but AC is also less than BC, so there's no continuum there. But the dogs, I think there is. AD is greater than KD is greater than BD. Okay, that's good. Okay, let's go through the answer choices. Bruce owns the fewest cats. Well, Bruce owns more cats than Alice, so that can't be true. Bruce owns the most cats. We're not 100% sure because we are not told any comparison between Kathy and Bruce when it comes to cats. So we're not sure there. Kathy owns the most cats. Again, we're not sure. So C can't be right. Alice owns the most dogs, and that is something we are sure of since we have a continuum. And then let's just round it out. Kathy owns the fewest dogs. She owns the middle number of dogs, whatever the numbers are. So number 18, the answer is D. 5 children had dinner. Chris ate more than Max. Brandon ate less than Kayla. Kayla ate less than Max, but more than Tanya. Which child ate the second most? Okay, so Chris ate more than Max. All right. Brandon ate less than Kayla. So B is less than K. And then Kayla ate less than Max. So K is less than M. Okay. Kayla ate less than Max, but more than Tanya. So more than Tanya. All right. So we have to combine all of these. So I'll just put this guy up here. So that means that M is greater than K is greater than B, but K is also greater than T. But M is greater than all of these. So they're saying which child ate the second most? Well, according to this inequality, it looks like the second most is Max, and the most is Chris. And then Kayla is probably third. And then B and T, we don't know who's bigger than who, but those are the last two in terms of amount eaten for dinner. So second most is Max, and therefore number 13, the answer is D. Igor is shorter than J. Faye is taller than Goa. G is taller than Faye, and Han is shorter than Goa. Well, who is the tallest? All right, so Igor is shorter than G. G is taller than Faye. Han is shorter than Goa. Faye is taller than Goa. And then Han is shorter than Goa. Okay. So it looks like the tallest is J or G. Number 17, the answer is E. An integer chosen at random from this list. The probability that that integer to the power of 4 is greater than 100 is. Well, one thing you'll notice about this list is that it is pretty much the same numbers. The only difference is that some of them are positive and some of them are negative. So when you take any of these integers to the fourth power, the result will be the same. M to the fourth will be the same whether you have a negative 5 to the fourth or whether you have 5 to the fourth. Okay? So all we really need to do is just concentrate on one of these pairs, either the positive or negative, and the result will be the same for the other guy. So let's try 1 to the power of 4, that's 1. 3 to the power of 4, 9 times 9, I believe, which is 81. Okay, 5 to the power of 4, 25 times 25, 625. 7 to the power of 4. Obviously, these are going to be greater than 100. Don't really even need to do it, but just for the sake of doing it. And that's what? 6561? Yeah. So the ones that are greater than 100, which is what they want, are these guys right here. Negative 9, 9, negative 7, 7, negative 5, and 5. They will give results that are greater than 100. These ones will not. So of the 10 numbers, these 6 will give a result that is greater than 100. So the probability is 6 over 10. And of course, in lowest terms, that's 3 over 5. So number 12, the answer is E.